So nobody can fix climate change. We are in for climate instability, but it is on a continuum about how much unnecessary human suffering there's going to be and how much species extinction. So let's stop worrying. Let's no more time in despair. Let's just get on with those solutions. So if I keep pushing this, I will get to my slides. Great. So here's the definition of education for sustainable development that came out of one of the international conferences. I want you to focus on that it enables people to develop the knowledge and skills to participate in decisions. That's decisions. That's active. It's not sitting around with armchair pontification. We don't need to graduate one more armchair pontificator out of higher ed or K-12. And what are we doing? Of course, improving quality of life without damaging the planet for the future. And it's the same skills that you need that employers ask for. So those of you who are in a politically sensitive space and it's hard to talk about sustainable development, just talk about the skills that employers are looking for, and what they want are people who can work effectively in teams, who can listen well, do conflict resolution, solve problems, and be change agents. There's really only two things we need to do to create a sustainable future, and they're in red. We need to apply the knowledge and skills we have to not just make individual change and stop feeling guilty about the ways you're not living sustainability. Guilt and blame is a waste of time. Celebrate what you are doing and move to systems change, because we need to change the regulations. We need to change the culture. We need to change the policies. And if we do those things, then we'll get to more sustainable communities, sustainable economies. Of course, it's all within the context of our ecosystems. There's another level of this, which is if we just love each other beyond family and friends, then we actually will act out of the solutions for sustainable development. We formed the U.S. Partnership for Education for Sustainable Development because the United Nations created a decade of education for sustainable development, and there wasn't going to be a U.S. response from the government. Bush was in the White House at the time, and so a group of us, a very small group, got together. We're standing in the higher ed building in Washington, D.C. on DuPont Circle, and we're going, all these people have budgets and staff and gatekeepers for their CEOs, and they're not doing education for a sustainable future. We need to change that. So we made an organization, this U.S. Partnership for Education for Sustainable Development. We had then a name of an organization, titles. We walked in, we got past the gatekeepers, and we used our two magic sentences. They work in a variety of settings, so you may want to write them down. You are in a unique and important position to help create a sustainable future. We can't imagine doing this without you. We're convening your colleagues to work on this. You would be missed. I hope you can make it. And they all showed up. You can find free buildings, in Washington, D.C. where you can host really nice meetings, and we did that. We ended up working with over 360 organizations, and we are in all these different sectors of society, as you see listed there. I don't have time today to talk about all of them. Much of our work are people who already have other jobs and do this on the top as pro bono. Many of them then work this into their paid career position. I could spend a whole other thing talking about careers and sustainability, but that's not my topic today. Ooh, we've got some formatting issues. So that's a problem. You noticed that, right? So let me tell this to you because it's not on the slide. AASHE, AASHE.org/DANS, D-A-N-S. If you go to AASHE.org/DANS, you'll see one of our higher education networks. It's made up of over 45 academic societies because we said, don't make people come to your event. Go to where they are. Where are the faculty? The faculty go to their disciplinary societies. So we went to their disciplinary societies and using students who helped us connect with the CEOs and presidents. Empower your students. There is no hierarchy. They have to learn how to make cold calls. We contacted them, we convened them, and now for over 10 years, we have 45 academic societies all working on integrating sustainability into curricula. We also got a FIPSI grant. We ended up with 13 STEM societies. Go look at the resources page here. It has all sorts of resources to get new faculty to educate about sustainability, to have learning activities, and to focus on the most important learning outcome, which has now made it into the international literature on sustainability learning outcomes, which is stop dooming and glooming, focus on solutions, and help students become systems thinkers who can be effective change agents. And the only way they'll do that is if you give them real-world problems to work on while they're in school, so they can practice. So I teach an energy management class, right? I have for 37 years. Oh, I'm a professor of renewable energies too. And the energy management class, I could give them a fake building and they could do an energy audit and then I'd have a key. I have them go out into the community. They did an energy audit on the jail. They did an energy audit on parts of City Hall. They did an energy audit on senior citizen complexes, and they are transformed by what they have contributed and what they have learned. A little more work for me to correct it. It's worth it. So all of these academic societies are working on this. We also have a second network, which is the Higher Ed Association Sustainability Consortium, made up of the college and university presidents, academic officers, student life, and the facilities and business side of the house. You can go back to any institution you're at and say, hey, go look at these organizations, because they're saying we should be doing conservation and sustainable development, not only on our campuses, but in our communities. The most important project we've done in the last year is called Beyond Doom and Gloom, engage students in solutions to climate change, because there's way too many students that are getting depressed by what we're teaching them. Educators asked for it. They said, we know how to teach climate change. We don't know how to teach the solutions, particularly the energy-focused solutions. Practitioners asked for it. They said, we're so busy getting the solutions out there. We need students to help us to get good policy. That's a systems change. That's a leverage point. Students have to learn how to find the leverage points and use them. And policymakers asked for it. They said, you know, we have all these utilities that are into fossil fuels that are dominating the conversations at the policy level. We're not hearing from the youth. So we created this and we've shared it out. We had over 500 faculty on our first webinar, also 20 countries, and we didn't even market it internationally. Take a look.
The impacts of climate change are already happening and becoming more intense. You've probably all heard the doom and gloom of what's to come. More droughts, extreme weather events, sea level rise, hunger, disease, and extinction of up to half of all species. The burning of fossil fuels is a big part of what's driving climate change. This is the conclusion of the vast majority of climate scientists. Unfortunately, many lawmakers don't understand the connection between climate change and our energy policy. Too many are supporting damaging policies that invest our tax dollars into harmful fossil fuels. With such a massive global issue, it's easy to be discouraged and overwhelmed and feel like there's nothing we can do to help. Well, there is something we can do. In fact, there's a whole lot we can do. Right now, we could be using renewable energy and better energy efficiency to supply as much as 80% of the electricity needs of the United States. Instead of just getting mad at the government, we can make it better. Those people in office are our elected officials. They're supposed to be speaking for us. But how can they speak for us on climate change if we don't make our voices heard? That's why we need to show up and fight for policies that support a rapid shift to a clean energy future. And look, even if you don't understand how humans are creating climate change, even if you don't care about climate change at all, there are still good reasons to support renewable energies. Clean energy would potentially be more affordable and more accessible to everyone. It would improve our environment and human health, and it would give us the freedom to make our own energy. And who doesn't love freedom? And if you think that you're just a student and nobody's going to listen to you, you're so wrong.
I've been contacting my representatives about fighting for a clean energy future.
My peers and I started an organization on campus to foster the political will to combat climate change.
I called policymakers and they listened. Now we have better policies that will expand solar energy.
You should be confident using your voice. It does matter.
Not sure where to start? Go to this website to get info about good energy policy, who to call, and what issues are being addressed.
So that video takes you to information on how to sign up for policy alerts, because it's happening right now. And if we don't get the students to show up and the public to show up, we end up with the fossil fuel companies running the future of our energy, and climate instability is going to be out of control with terrible human suffering. So there's lots of materials there. You can go and get more information. I know for some of you it's like, oh, civic engagement in the classroom. But we have research that shows that it increases learning. We've learned how to handle all the concerns faculty have, so talk to us if you have concerns. Of course, it's in the context of this wonderful diagram on a safe and just space for humanity that I don't have time to talk about, but if you haven't seen this, go look for it. I also want to tell you about one of our other projects is a primer for presidents and boards of trustees and principals. If you need it, let us know. It's free. We also have an international sustainability literacy test because too many colleges, you say one, I say two, because I see two. The sustainability literacy test was formed because too many schools and universities are doing a poor job of teaching sustainability. It raises the bar. It's a learning test as well as an assessment test. It's in 55 countries, 8 languages, 4 UN agencies, and all these international higher ed networks that support it. Go look, take it. If you don't like it, help us even improve the questions. It doesn't just look at our challenges for sustainability. It also looks at what are the skills to be an effective change agent. Last thing, community energy conversations. The Tea Party and the Sierra Club got together, created the Green Tea Party in Georgia, learned how to talk to each other and found common ground so that we could get good energy policies. You heard about it in the plenary. It's time to ramp it up. Community energy conversations is a set of questions that helps them find common ground, civil discourse, less polarization, and exponential implementation of clean energy policies so that we can reduce greenhouse gas emissions. That's all I have time for today. Thank you.